Hey guys, time to talk about last night's episode of the Vampire Diaries. I seriously think that they are trying to kill me, right? Because this episode, there were some fantastic bits in it that I really enjoyed, but I was really kind of annoyed by quite a lot of this episode. Let's just get the I was annoyed part out of the way, right? The whole bit with Elena. And we get from last week, from the cliffhanger, right, that Elena has asked Alaric to compel her to forget Damon. Now, you guys know that I am a Stalena person, right? I have not kept that a secret from you guys. I do get the Delena thing, right? I get the appeal of that, but I really have been a Stalena person most of the time while watching the Vampire Diaries. I say all of that, though, to say that about halfway through the last season, I started to just not care anymore at all. Part of me wanted them all to go off and be with different people and just kill the whole Stalena-Delena debate. Now, let's talk about why I was annoyed, right? I actually thought this idea, this little twist, was pretty ingenious, right? I wasn't expecting it last week. I was kind of excited about what it could mean for this season. I'm an original vampire. I can compel you, do what I tell you to do. But instead, they made it this super emotional, because this is a deep emotional bloody, we're gonna need you to go through all your memories of Damon. It was seriously like a flashback clip episode. So I was annoyed, first of all, by that, because you know what, Rick? Walk into the room, look her in the eyes, tell her to forget that she ever dated that boy, and we should be done. I don't care what the reason is they came up with. I just thought, whatever. And then, to make matters worse, right, it doesn't work. So memory after memory, Alaric starts to change what Elena remembers, but bottom line is that when he keeps asking her who is Damon Salvatore, she keeps saying, he was my boyfriend, and now he's dead, weepy, weepy, weepy. Until finally Alaric has this telephone call with Caroline, who tells him, look, the real reason it's not working is because she doesn't want to admit to anyone, not even to herself, that she fell in love with Damon while she was still with Stefan. And this is where my problem is, right? Because I feel like when they did that, they tried to belittle the relationship that Stefan and Elena had. And I don't like that. If Delena's gonna happen or whatever, if she's gonna fall in love with Damon, then let that happen. But don't belittle what she had with Stefan. It made it seem like she was in love with him the whole time, but she didn't even want to admit that to herself. Whatever. And don't get me wrong, you guys, I get it. I remember the whole bits where Damon was in love with Elena, and there was these moments where you could see that she thought about the possibility of it, or the time she kissed him when they went on that little road trip or whatever. But I just felt like they made it way more than it needed to be. Don't mess with the history of Stalena. That is my whole point in my little rant that I got going on here. Don't mess with it. If they never ever get back together, let me remember the time that they shared together, and yeah, and rant. Okay, let's talk about some good stuff that happened in this episode. Things that I actually liked. So we got to get more in depth with Bonnie and Damon. By the end of the episode, we pretty much get that they are stuck in some sort of supernatural Groundhog Day. May 10th, 1994. They're pretty much reliving that day over and over again in Mystic Falls, but they're there by themselves. And then Bonnie kind of reminds us, that her Gram had said something to her about using magic to try to find Bonnie some peace. And so we get that the reason they're there is because of Grams, and the reason that Damon is there is because he was holding hands with Bonnie. And so we see the two of them, this love-hate thing going on between them, just day after day. Bonnie decides to try to learn magic again, so fingers crossed that works out, right? Because the whole Bonnie not being a witch was getting kind of old. But the other cool thing about their storyline is that towards the end of the episode, we get that there's somebody else there with them. They don't know who it is, but there's a couple of things that happen that make them realize that they're not alone. I must say, I am loving their whole storyline. I cannot wait to learn more about who's there with them, and I can't wait for them to figure out how to get out of May 10th, 1994. Now, speaking of Bonnie, let's talk about her better half, Jeremy. Now, there's no surprise that Jeremy is just in a really bad place. And I thought it was so sweet, you guys, that moment at the end of the episode where we get that he's been paying Bonnie's cell phone bill so that he can call and listen to her voice over the voicemail. And then he just leaves her these messages, right? And I loved it, right? Because it was just so raw and honest as he's just telling her what he's doing. And then he's just I'm so pissed at you. I can't believe that you left me and that you did it the way you did it. And I just love it, right? Because you get that he's not letting go. And that's why he's kind of stuck where he's at. There's also this bit about the girl, Sarah, the one that Elena bit in the first episode. We get that there's probably going to be more to her storyline. She dropped a hint in this episode about being related to somebody in Mystic Falls, and part of me just thinks it's going to be Bonnie, and boy, won't that be what Jeremy deserves. When Bonnie and Damon do get back, hey, by the way, I slept with somebody that you're related to. Oops, thought you were dead. We also get that this little, like, Mystic Falls, like, Justice League that Matt's a part of, the guy that's kind of in charge, Tripp, we get that he is a Fel, so he is a member of a founding family, and, you know, we see him kill a bunch of vampires at the end of the episode, and so I'm thinking he's gonna be a bit of a problem. On a side note, I just want to point out that the actor who is playing Tripp was in one of my favorite sci-fi shows, Eureka. You guys, if you haven't seen that show, you need to Netflix it. He played Sheriff Carter, and he was just the best, so it's really hard for me to see him kind of be like a tough bad guy. I don't know how well I'm gonna take that. Next to the whole Elena gets compelled business, I think my other least favorite part of this episode was the whole Enzo and Caroline go to make Stefan feel guilty for giving up on his brother. It was just a lot, and I mean, there was crying, there was confrontation. We get that neither Enzo or Caroline is ready to give up, and they really can't believe that Stefan is. So yeah, I'm not sure if their little visit is gonna motivate him or what's gonna happen, but I guess we'll see. I guess we will see. That is it from me today, you guys. Don't forget to tell me what you thought about this episode. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you loved Elena. Maybe you loved reliving all of these Damon and Elena flashback moments. And maybe there's something severely wrong with you. Just kidding. Kinda. Whatever your opinion, even if you disagree with me, let us hash it out down in the comment section below. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye.